Good afternoon. Welcome to this session of the Health Cluster, Destination 6, maintaining competitive, sustainable and innovative health technology. We will present you the different topics we have open for this session, but I wish to remind you that you can ask questions via Slido. Please put the number of the topic you're addressing so that we don't confuse. I wish also to say that we will only answer questions related to Destination 6, not other, and we will not also address cross-cutting issues that have been dealt with this morning, and you can find the answers on the platform. To answer your questions, I will be assisted by a panel. I will present you this panel. First, I have Birgit Moignon who will present. She's from DG Connect, and she will answer more specifically questions related to the health electronic record and also the assessment of digital health technologies. I have also Valentina Barbuto, who is from DG Santé, and she will more focusedly answer questions on HTA. Christina Kyriakopoulou will answer questions on orphan and rare disease medicines. We have a topic on that. And Christian de Saint, who is from DG Santé, as Christina, will be there to answer questions on LTMPs. And myself, I am Jean-Luc San from DG RTD, and I will moderate this session. So take your question and respond to it. I wish to say one thing about Destination 6. Destination 6 is mainly a support to policies and regulatory. It's actually the support of science to help to facilitate the uptake of health technologies, because health technologies suffer different challenges, a long time to market, it's very regulated, and it is also sometimes we have more uncertainties than in other reasons, in other areas. So we try to, through research, to provide all the data and the networks and build all the things that would facilitate the uptake. Now I can start to present the topics. I hope you've seen already the video for the presentation of the topic, and now it's only a summary. I will not go into the detail of the topics. First of all, you have a topic on supporting the uptake of innovative health technology assessment, methodology, and advancing HT expertise across Europe. So it's topic number 1. Date for closure is 13 April. This is for all topic. This one is a coordination and support action. We have committed a budget of 5 million euros, and we think that 5 million euros is about the amount needed to implement this topic. So we expect to support only one project in this topic. I wish to tell you that when we say that we have a budget of 5 million euros, is the commitment. If you request more, you take the risk of not being supported if we don't have additional money. Topic number 2, so 0602, expanding the European Electronic Health Record Exchange format to improve interoperability within the European health data space. This one is a research and innovation action. We have a budget of 8 million euros, and we think that the size of the topic should be between 3 and 5 million euros. So we expect to support, let's say, 2 projects in this domain. Topic number 3, which is actually numbered 0604, because 0603 is for 24, so it's where we skipped one. But so topic 04 is the third topic for 2033. It's modeling and simulation to address regulatory needs in the development of orphan and pediatric medicine. It's also a research and innovation action. We have a budget of 25 million euros, and we think that a reasonable budget per proposal would be between 4 and 6 million euros. So hopefully we will support 5 projects in this domain. The fourth topic in this destination is 0605, mapping the hurdle of the clinical application of advanced therapy medicinal product, the so-called ATMPs. It's a CSA. We have a budget of 3 million euros. We think that this is enough to support one project in this domain. And the last topic is research and innovation action on the development of harmonization of methodology for assessing digital health technology in Europe. We have a budget of 15 million euros, and considering the size of the topic, between 5 and 8 million euros, we expect to support up to 2 projects in this area. I hope you have seen the video. I wish to remind you that everything which is in the video is advisory. Only the text of the work program is a legal basis. We will answer your questions in Slido, help you understand better the different topics. And I will start with the first question. The first question relates to topic 0607. What does digital health technology use case specifically refer to? Is it about DHT's cluster categories or specific application? I think, Birgit, it's a question for you.
Yeah, thank you. So in this topic, we ask you to develop a methodological framework and standardized assessment approaches, but we want you to test it really on the ground and not to stay within the paperwork and the theory, but really make it practical and tangible. And then the health use cases, it depends on how you categorize your framework and how you develop your methodology. So you'll have to see within the approach that you propose on how you define use cases.
Okay, thank you for this answer. I think it's clear. We have another question in Slido. This one is on topic 0604. So Christina, it will be for you. Modeling and simulation orphan drug and pediatric medicine, should the target population be simultaneously be pediatric and rare disease population? Christina?
This is a very good question. The topic refers, leave it to the applicant to choose as relevant to the objectives of their proposal if they are going to focus on orphan and or pediatric medicines, modeling and simulation tools relevant to these areas. Of course, you can have a combination. We also know that more than 50% of the rare diseases are relevant to children. So there are different combinations that you can have in the topic, but you can have also one or the other.
And again, I refer to the fact that this is the basis. So when in the topic it says and or, that means that it is open. And so you can rely on the text. We have another question still for you, Christina. It's a question on 0604, modeling and simulation orphan and pediatric medicines. For a secondary use of real-world data, is the informed consent needed? Which I think is an important question. It may look horizontal, but in fact, it specifically applies to this topic. Christina.
This topic, as we mentioned, and I think where I can assume how is linked this question to the topic, it explicitly says that is not intending to implement prospective clinical trials. So the topic, it intends to focus on mature modeling and simulation tools which have a value of potential regulatory needs. So, and in that perspective, the prospective recruitment of patients, which of course informed consent is very much linked, probably the question is related to that. Now, the idea is now to use, of course, it's very important to use to the secondary use of data, retrospective clinical trials or cohort studies or relevant other clinical studies. It is very important also in this question to for the applicants to really have a look to the ethics self-assessment form and to the part A of the template A of the proposal, where there is an explicit questions related to ethics issues regarding the use of personal data from retrospective of pre-existing data set of sources or pre-existing clinical studies. And there is a very comprehensive guidance on how to fill in the applicants of the self-assessment report. And then you can see, for example, there is an important element. For example, if you have a data protection officer in your institution, it is generally recommended to include them in all stages of your projects, also during the proposal preparation, whenever it comes to privacy and data protection issues of sensitive patient personal data, because this is very relevant to this topic. There are also some important aspects that are analyzed and advised there. Questions, for example, what type, if your projects, if your proposal includes the processing of special categories of personal data, does it involve processing of genetic biometric health data and all of this sensitive personal data? And there are guidance what type of questions you should answer and explain in your proposal related to the secondary use of data. It's a very important point.
Thank you, Christina. Yes, indeed, it's a question that is in the frame of the GDPR and which is covered under the clinical trial, but also under the ethics, because we have also an ethics check, that as you say, and it's very important to have an office who deals with this data protection. We have another question, which is this time on topics 0607, so it will be for you, Birgit. Could the methodological framework adopt a life cycle approach, also addressing regulatory pathways, or should this be left aside? I'm not personally sure I understand fully the question, but maybe, Birgit, you understand it better than I.
I give my interpretation of the question. If we look into the impacts of that we expect from these research and innovation actions, we also expect that regulators will have access to robust and scientifically underpinned evaluation methodologies. So in that approach, yes, it should also serve regulators that this methodological framework. And so if that is what is meant by the question, you can indeed also cover a life cycle approach and address the regulatory pathways. But again, with a disclaimer that we're not 100% sure on how to interpret the question.
I would take the opportunity of this answer to say that if you think we have not answered your question properly because we misunderstood it, you still have the possibility to reformulate and submit again. Next question still for you, Birgit, on topic 0607. How would you imagine the robustness of developed methodologies to be assessed?
Yeah, so I think it relates also to the first question that I received, is that we want you to test the robustness of the developed methodologies on minimum 3 different digital health technology use cases. And robustness is here to be understood as that you have standardized approaches and that they are repeatable. So if we use a certain approach, that the outcomes are comparable and repeatable, and so that you can prove that the outcomes are comparable and the same if you rerun the tests.
Then I have a question on topic 0604. So for you, Christina, is the call limited to medicinal products or does it also cover medical devices?
Could you repeat the beginning of the question?
Is the call limited to medicinal products or does it also cover medical devices?
As it is mentioned also in the title of the proposal, it relates to the regulatory challenges, how we can use and develop and standardize and assess the value for regulatory purposes of modeling and simulation tools which are relevant to the development of the orphan and/or pediatric medicines. So this is the medicines development. However, sometimes you can have companion diagnostics, which are relevant biomarkers, which is also as clinical endpoints developed on the different orphan or pediatric medicines. So, but in general, it is medicine, these orphan and pediatric medicines.
Thank you, Christina. I think it answers this question. But I have still another question for you. So you're very solicited. What does mature computational models means? From which point of view, clinical application maturity? All these are question marks.
Yes, indeed. So this is left. There is no definition of what is the level of maturity. I mean, there is no official definition. However, we are talking about a topic, a research and innovation topic, to do research on the existing computational models from the research that they have developed in the research that can be used to address regulatory needs. So by definition from this concept, it has to bypass the first steps of development of a model. It has to have developed at the preclinical stage, or it has to be used at a other relevant clinical case situation, and it has to have shown, you have to have the evidence and to provide the evidence in your proposal that these have the value to really address the regulatory challenges. So if you go to, if one would not expect in this topic to start from scratch developing a model. It has to have a level that will lead it to the innovation pathway closer to the regulatory needs. So it has to have passed the discovery or the first stages of development. And again, this depends on the use cases or on that the applicants are choosing to validate, to showcase the validity of their models, and which type of challenges in which type of groups of orphan-related medicines or pediatric they are want to work on.
Thank you, Christina. I think it's important that you say, which is because it's really the spirit of this destination, that is to support regulators here and not to develop new health technologies. The next question is a question on topic 0602. So I think it will be for you, Birgit. Should the consortium also produce EHDS strategy recommendations or only technical solutions? B, should SDOs be included in the consortium?
Yeah. So this proposal is about the electronic health record exchange format, and it relates to the electronic health data space proposal. So the applicants need to be very well acquainted with the landscape of electronic health record interoperability, but also with the legislative framework, and also link with the existing member state pilots and collaborate in that field. So you should link to the European Health Data Space proposal, but of course it the topic is about electronic health record interoperability with the European health data space.
Okay, and I have another question for you, Birgit, but this one on topic 0607. The text cites several DHT categories, which may require differential assessment frameworks. The question is, should we focus on some or a single framework is preferred?
Yeah, so here it's important that there are already some frameworks that are used or that are tested that are out there. So it's about coming up with a toolbox of standardized approaches, and that's what we call a methodological framework. So yeah, it's more, you should develop several standard approaches so that regulators, that health technology providers, that they have at hand different assessment methods, and these assessment methods, they should focus on the particular aspects that are intrinsic to digital. So the new challenges on how do we assess privacy compliance, how do we assess cybersecurity, data quality, everything that has to do with data storage and handling, and of course also interoperability. So that's why it's a research and innovation action. There is still a lot to explore on those aspects.
Thank you. Another question, which is now on the first topic, 0601. So this will be for you, Valentina. How should the HTA training program to be developed align to the HTA capacity building initiative under EU4Health?
Thank you for this question. The action that we have under EU4Health responds to a more urgent need and only refers to the joint work. And it is an action tailored to the support to national authorities, in particular assessors and co-assessors, on the methodology that will be developed during 2023 by the coordination group. The action now under Horizon Europe looks at the long term, and also, as you have seen, it encompasses two different strands. So we have the research component and the training program. The training program, we are looking at creating a framework training program that could respond to the needs of member states and national authorities also in the long term, and could in a way serve also the need of the coordination group, but not only. The training program under this action also can look at national HTA's concerns or needs. I would imagine, of course, that you're right, in 2024, the two consortium, they will need to dialogate to be sure that they don't duplicate these actions in the specificities of the methodologies on supporting assessors and co-assessors. Thank you.
Thank you for this response. I will take another question, which is again on topic 0607. Can the proponent use already collected data, or does this call imply running clinical studies to collect data to address the aims?
Available, of course. That's, I suppose it's aiming at the use cases that need to be developed and tested. So if the data is already available, you can use available data, but since you have to develop new methodologies and standardized approaches, I would expect that also some new data needs to be collected.
Another question, which is for the moment the last question we have in Slido. Should the model be applied at the same disorders for which it has been originally developed? So, Christina, do you get the question? Should the model be applied to the same disorders for which it has been originally developed?
Yeah, this is open. the applicants. I mean, this depends on the disorder, depends on the use cases, on the group of diseases, depends on the questions that of that the model would like to answer, where we don't have enough data or we don't have enough statistical confidence. But it's this case that our participant asked is also very into the scope of the topic. Yeah.
I have a question now that appears on topic number 2. The text mentions the possibility to make use of clinical studies. What type of clinical studies do you mean in this context? So it's the context of the electronic health record exchange format.
It's a general provision, the text on clinical studies that is added to every topic. So it's if you consider it's not needed to run clinical studies, you can discard it.
Okay, so it's not mandatory.
No.
Topic number 0604, again for you, Christina. Should EMA and national authorities be involved since the proposal development, or is it sufficient to describe in the proposal the engagement process?
Yes, this is a good question. Actually, it refers to the topic text, where it is mentioned that EMA or national regulatory national healthcare product regulatory authorities or EMA should be involved in order to catalyze this effective collaboration between the researchers and the regulators. And there are different possibilities for involvement. One can imagine, for example, this is a research and innovation, an innovation topic. Bodies, regulatory bodies, national regulatory bodies, for example, which are mandated to carry out research activities, could also be active as beneficiaries of the project. It is up to the authorities. Another possibility would be also to include authorities or EMA in an advisory board of the project, if they are interested of this development of new methodological approaches or new tools, as this is the topic. There are several possibilities, but for the national authorities, for EMA, usually there is a whole. If you read in the website of EMA, you can see for applicants related to Horizon Europe, call for proposals which have a regulatory dimension. There are some guidance, some advice that they can be given to the applicants relevant to the content of the proposal, and also something perhaps an important aspect that it is relevant to this topic. There are some guidelines that have been produced by EMA on the qualification for novel methodologies for medicines development, which may be particularly relevant to Horizon 2020 proposals. One can consult this. These are very, 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 very useful documents also.
Thank you. I have a question on topic 607. I just now realized that on the slide it was not mentioned that for this topic the GRC may join. So maybe Birgit, you want to say something on that, or it's just to recall that the GRC will not be part of the consortium at proposal level, but they may join during the negotiation of the grant agreement if the proposal is selected. So this is an important element which is to be kept in mind. So now we have a true question on topic 607. As we will propose methods for multiple assessment domains, clinical, privacy, etc., can different use cases be identified to test methods for different domains?
Yeah, I think it's a bit related to
Yeah.
the first question that we had in this session, and indeed it's again up to you to see how you organize your framework and what classification you take. But if you have certain assessment methodologies for privacy, for cybersecurity, and you organize it according to the technical specifications, or you organize your framework according to more the care provisioning, primary health care or institutional health care or whatever, that's free, of course, to you as an expert and as researchers to organize how you think is best suited, and then the different domains should stick to the choices that you made.
So thank you. The next question on the list is for topic 0601, so for Valentina. Is there a required or estimated time span for the implementation of the HTA training program to be developed?
Thank you. Yeah, as an estimate, I think these projects normally last around 3 years, or in any case, they are linked to the multi-annual financial framework. We think that this time span and the budget will be enough for what is requested. It depends on the proposal, of course, how you think that the training program should be developed, how would you envisage this? Of course, you know that this is one of the two strands to be developed in this time span. Thank you.
Thank you, Valentina. This refers to what I said, is that this is an opinion that you provide, an advice that you provide to the applicants, but the rule says that they have flexibility. So if they think that they need 5 or 6 years, they are free to do so. They just have to justify so that the evaluators consider that it's a reasonable time. The next question is for you, Birgit, again on topic 607, that apparently raises a lot of interest. Text mentions a framework to evaluate and monitor impact of the use as one of the outputs. This would be different from the assessment framework, right? Question.
Yeah, I hope the multitude of questions is not because the topic is not clear, but because of the interest, as you say. So why this topic was driven by the fact that we see that digital health technologies, the uptake of digital health technologies in the clinical setting and the care setting is difficult and is lacking behind due to the fact that we are missing the standardized assessment approaches. And so one of the expected outcomes then is, if we have that framework with standardized approaches, that the uptake and the integration of the digital health technologies will also increase. So we ask also the consortia to reflect on then how can we monitor that this impact is indeed achieved. So indeed it's two different things. It's the methodological framework, and then also set up a framework on how to monitor and evaluate that the uptake and use of digital health services increases and contributes to the overall goals of our health and care systems.
Thank you. We have another question on the first topic, and it relates to a question we've also been asked by the national contact points when we had a meeting with them. It's about the participation of HTA bodies as part of the consortium. Are they required to be part of the consortium, these HTA bodies?
Thank you. Again, it depends how you want to, I mean, you're free to develop the proposal as you think appropriate. However, as you have read, there are quite a lot of elements that refer to the needs of HTA bodies. And as you may know, in the EU, there is also quite a diversified experience in this respect. So one of the objectives is to respond to the needs, and maybe some member states where, or other countries where the research component in agencies is also well developed could provide an interesting addition. But again, that depends on the way you see the proposal. We would think, of course, that the applicant would need to have experience in both strands. So on the one side, on the research side, but also on technology assessment. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's a very clear answer. We have another question on topic 7, which is a question we already had. So for the moment, we don't have new questions. Maybe because Christian is online, I will repeat a question we received on the NCPs to allow some people to feed, I would say, Slido if they have a burning question. Christian, on the topic on TMPs, I remember there was a question whether the hybrid NTMPs were allowed in the topic. You remember this one?
Yes, you mentioned the combined.
Yeah, the
ATMPs.
combined. I say
Yes.
hybrid, it's combined ATMPs.
Yes, of course, it is included.
So it can be a medicine plus a device. Is that
Yeah.
what I understand? Okay. And then it was good to ask you, because now we have a new question on topic 4. So it's for you, Christina. Should be identify different disorder groups or just one disorder group applied to different computational model? It's close to a question you answered, but it's not exactly the same.
Yes, the topic in. Could you repeat again once more? The
Should be
question?
identify
Because it's a
different
bit
disorder
different.
groups or just one disorder applied to different computational models?
So it is requested in the topic to assess the validated in silico models for their capability to increase the statistical robustness to improve the development of these particular orphans or pediatric and in small populations clinical trials. The assessment is requested to demonstrate it in use cases represented groups of rare and or pediatric diseases with commonalities. So if it's one mathematical model or it's combination of modeling and simulations, it has to be showcase their validity for regulatory value in groups of rare diseases, not only in one.
Thank you, Christina. I think it's the last question we have in Slido. If we don't receive any other question, I will thank you for your participation. I wish maybe to give you 2 or 3 tips before we close. First, rely on the text of the work program. 2, realize that you have to convince the evaluators, not the commission. So if you have tricky choices to make, it's the evaluators to convince. And last but not least, you have still the possibility to put additional questions in the portal, but also to address your question to national contact points. You have the list in the portal of the national contact points. They are very knowledgeable, they are very keen to help you, and they can be of great support. So thank you for your participation. And I wish you good luck with your proposals. I'm closing the session now.